So tonight the park board meeting is on the back patio, unless we can get a key to the door. Kind of missed that one little detail, but I think we'll be okay. Hello, did you see that the park board is meeting on the back patio because we don't have the key. So we're all outside. Old school. So yes, the library has this patio, really nice patio, covered area to meet. And so we're going to meet back here. Do we have sign-in sheets? Do we need to? Yeah. I'm sure the chair can just ask if there's anybody who wants to speak and make sure the secretary has your information for the minutes. This is outside the library.
Yeah, I think I needed a couple pieces of paper on it.
It's a beautiful day.
They're so few.
We're just jamming to it.
On the girl side. On the boy side, I wasn't. But on the girl side, I was up and
I made you a nameplate, but I figured I should not put them out in the wind.
So I do live.
Library board missed it, man. I didn't make anything for them.
Central. All the meetings and the rubber fields are ordered. Is it pretty strict? It's pretty.
The voting is the only thing that really needs to be strict.
I don't always agree with that because some of the times, well, just like the head of a sergeant at arms.
Yeah. Well, for Texas Open Meetings Act, you just basically need the rules to be, the votes to be clear. That's the biggest thing. Everything else can kind of
come under that.
Yeah, as long as discussion is going smoothly, then how we get there isn't as dictated by the Open Meetings Act. As long as we have a clear record of how each person did it.
Okay, and that's why it's on the sheets.
And for an advisory board, it's not even as it's easy to just it's easier to just stick with. Just watch and make sure anybody who wants to speak is heard, and if you want to speak, make sure you speak up, and you don't think the votes are there, stop, just ask everyone to double check that, read back to that vote.
All right, everybody, we're going to call the meeting to order. 6 o'clock. Roll call.
You can
Rick Hill, are you here? Here. Mr. Sneed? Here. Mr. Chris? Shelby?
She's no longer on the board.
May?
Here.
Are we adding Mr. Boyer?
Yes.
Here.
We don't have a slide either like
Okay, if you would bow with me, we'll do our invocation. Father, we thank you tonight for this beautiful day. We thank you for the weekend that's coming up, for Good Friday, and everything that the United States stands for. We ask that you bless this meeting with wisdom and knowledge, Father, to carry out things and make decisions. It's in Jesus' name we thank you tonight. Amen. All right, the flag's over there. If you want to stand for the pledge
There you go.
of the American flag. Last word, Amy. pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, indivisible.
Very good.
Public comments and receipt of petitions at this time. Anyone will be allowed to speak for a length of time not to exceed 4 minutes. No board discussion or action may take place on a matter until such matter has been placed on the agenda and posted in accordance with the law, Texas Government Code, Section 551.042. Item action number 6.
Do we get to speak?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'd like to speak.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Did everybody sign up for it that wants to
We
speak?
didn't really have the sign-up sheets out because they'd be blowing away.
Or do we got you speaking? Okay. Are you first in line to speak?
I guess so. Does anybody else want to speak? Just me? Okay, I was just going to mention that I'm really hoping you guys can figure out a way to raise $50,000 in the next 2 years for this Cato building because our residents need a tax decrease, not just a level tax, but a tax decrease. And we've got a lot of other budget amendments that are coming up and or expenses that are going to be impacting the budget this August. So the Parks Department is one of the few areas that we can legally, easily accept donations for. And those are tax-deductible donations if you can find bigger donors. Grants will be helpful, but like this Cato building grant, we have to pony up $50,000 from somewhere that we do not have. So the more you guys can help us find that, the better off we'll be. We got to figure out a way to get $6 million for a wastewater treatment plant. So the stronger we rein in our spending now, the easier it will be to convince the residents to entrust the city with another $6 million. So that being said, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Yes, Ms. Faria.
So,
State your
is,
name, please.
my name is Dana Furious. How are you? I just want to know, so is the Cato building already a done deal? We're going to do something with it? I don't know. Did I miss something at one of the meetings? We're keeping that?
It's on the agenda to talk about tonight.
Okay.
It's on the agenda, but we can't answer the questions.
Okay.
You can speak during the agenda.
Anybody else? No other speakers? Regular agenda item number 6, approved minutes from the February 26, 2026 meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from February 26, 2026.
I'll second.
Aye.
Regular agenda item number 7. You got your pass? Swearing in of new board member, Mr. Charles Boyer.
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Whitney Park Board of the state of Texas and will do the best of my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the swear or affirm
I solemnly swear or affirm
that I will not directly or indirectly pay,
directly or indirectly pay,
offer, promise to pay,
promise to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promise to contribute any money
promise to contribute any
or thing of value,
thing of value
or promise any public office or employment for the giving or withholding of a vote at the election, which I was elected, or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation, whichever the case may be.
Regular agenda item number 8, discuss and approve the appointing secretary.
I nominate Charles Boyer. Or make a motion that he be secretary. However you do it.
Yep. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All ayes.
So, I'll fix and hand this to you. So, we're down to number 9. And so this will be number 9 for you. Take your notes on
Okay, what about the sheet you sent me? Is that,
this. You can use that one. I did not have that. You're not getting it. So you can do it on this one.
so either one is,
As long as you're taking the notes.
You know you're good, Charles.
Go for it.
We're gonna move to item, agenda number 9. Get that off the way. Okay, item agenda number 9, discuss and approve planting a tree at City Park. Chris Brennan will make a presentation.
Well, it was about a month ago, we had a citizen named Rose Petrosky. Sorry if I butchered that name. When she called, she has a peach tree that she would like to donate to be planted either at the park or the Veterans Park or wherever we find space for it. Personally, peach trees being a little picky, I think kind of the entrance of the park, right where the old rock garden used to be, might be the best spot, because we have access to water there. And it stays a little more moist there than it does Veterans Park. So we all thought about that. Anybody have any other ideas? Or,
How big is this tree?
she said 6 feet above.
So it's already fruit bearing?
Already yeah, it'll be a fair sized tree already.
So you have equipment to
Yeah. We'll,
dig in.
we'll probably have to go over backhoe and stuff.
I don't have a problem with
I
that.
don't have a problem with it.
But it says discuss and approve, so we will have to take a vote. I'll make a motion that we approve the planting of the peach tree at the city park.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Read everybody, Charles. Thank you, Chris. Regular agenda number 10, discuss and possible action on setting a new date and time for future meetings. The library is available for the first Tuesdays of the month.
Good with me.
Oh, it's not Wednesday, it's fine.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion to
first Tuesday
of the month.
Aye.
Those in favor?
Aye.
All ayes.
And now we have to.
First Tuesday of the month.
oops. Yeah.
agenda item number 11, update from Sandy May and Charles Boyer on the Cato building. Ms. May, you want to speak first?
Okay, so first of all, in answer to Amy's question, yeah, I know we haven't raised $50,000, but I have met with Greg of Younger Construction several times over the last week or so. He has seen the inside of the building. He brought 2 of his men with him. He thinks it's doable. He's willing to work with us on his time and money. He is a loyal, long-term Whitney resident. He wants to see the building in all its glory. We know it's a long-term project, but with his help, with not only doing the work, but doing it at a discounted price and some possibly free work, and then, I think it's doable. And Charles was talking about, he has a list of men and his ministry out at White Club that could help with some of the labor to get, to gut it, so to speak. And they have insurance, because my fear was liability. But anyway, we've discussed this with him. He's toured the building. I think we need to put to bed the idea of selling it or demolishing it, because it's a very viable building, and I think the community has already voted. It's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the city council has already taken a poll with the city and voted that it is going to be a community center if we keep it. And that's what the community wants. And it's something we need. And so as far as that, I think that should end the discussion of putting it up for sale or trying to demolish it. Because it's a long-term project, but it can be done.
Do we have numbers?
No, he's compiling those numbers for us. I talked to him today. He said, I don't have any figures yet. He did also talk to another construction company he's friends with in Elmont that is licensed to do the asbestos removal, because he is not. But he's not against being licensed to do some of it. If he can get his license, he will. But if he can't, he can sub it out, and he said he can do it cheaper than the estimates that I got from the other company. So we've discussed all the legalities of that. He has removed asbestos from buildings before, so he knows the process. But in commercial building, you have to be licensed. So he's done it on some commercial buildings in Louisiana, but they didn't require
So
him
much
to be.
square footage.
Pardon me?
If you stay underneath a certain square footage, you don't have to be licensed.
Yeah,
That
but
building
because
has to
this
be
is a commercial building and owned by a city, it makes it more complicated. But he knows all that, and he's willing to work with us and do it. And I think long term, it's going to be amazing, because he's done a lot of buildings downtown already, put roofs on them and worked with fixing things up. So he's well aware of the structural being of the buildings. And
He went up there.
he did go back up on the roof. Yeah. And then Charles has stuff to add, because he's talked to Acme Brick, and he had a roofer out there, and you talked to Greg after he went up on the roof.
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. But he did go back out there.
Yeah, there. I retired from Acme Brick. Acme Brick, most people don't know, not for residential so much, but they can use that, but for commercial, they have a 100-year guarantee. Now, we don't know if this is Acme Brick. I would have to get a ceramic engineer out here and say, okay, yeah, that's Acme Brick.
We had one time proposed, I hadn't seen nothing back on February 26th to do more testing of the roof and the bricks to make sure there wasn't.
They are all, but that is very typical. And they said, the engineer I talked to said, since it was built before 1980, it probably the mortar and the brick also have asbestos in it, which is very common.
Right.
Commercial and make more commercial than residential sometimes, but definitely. The point of that being is if we don't demolish those walls, we're okay.
Yeah,
If we
you
demolish
just cover them on the inside.
Right, we seal them up, we coat them like they do most commercial things like the old school buildings, we did all of that. The point being is that the more we can save, the more we save.
Right, but do we have a conceptual plan of what we want to?
No.
Other than, hey, I'm gonna piecemeal this, piecemeal that, this group's gonna do that. I mean, I get all that, but
Now that, well, and
we have to have a plan.
And that was stage, or the second step, because I wanted, before I came on, I wanted to make sure I was gonna be on it, and do all of this, and get involved in it. And now, it is doable, and there are local contractors that are going to work with us, and we have the resources, hopefully, which is what I like to do too, then now, say, okay, if this board says, yes, we want to proceed, then I say, okay, let's start getting a plan together of what we're going to make of it, how we're going to do it, where are we going to put the electrical outlets, or everything.
Right, and then I guess as a taxpayer, I'm gonna wanna know what this costs.
I see no charges to the city at all. And that's being very optimistic, but I think we can do it with the help and the contractors that we have available that will work with us, and the possibilities of donations, and now that we know we can get donations. And so that's gonna change a lot of it. And then now we can think a little more positively about what we can do with it.
Well, and back to your question of testing, Greg said he's replaced like 3 of the roofs downtown, and he's repaired this when it was Cato's building, and he said there's no asbestos in it. So there's no need for any further testing, in his opinion. And as far as what it's gonna be, we know it's gonna be a community center. I mean, yes, we need a retired engineer to draw us out a plan of what it's gonna be, but as far as the money, they said in the last city council meeting, if we get that grant, that $1 million grant from the agriculture department, it can be used for the revitalization of a community center in the downtown area. So all we really have to worry about is anything initially that we're doing and helping raise the $50,000, and that $50,000 is not just for the community center. It's for sidewalks, lighting, it's for everything downtown.
Right.
But just a portion of it would be going. So even if we only raise a portion of the $50,000, and like you said, that should not be difficult if we contact someone like fundraising projects. I mean, it's not like we have to do it tomorrow. It's a long-term project.
We do have a roof that needs to be addressed before it does start.
That is an issue.
Until you start, until you got it weathered in, before you can proceed.
So you have to work up a price. You can't just expect everybody to do it for free, and then it doesn't work that way. If you're going to use grant money, you still have to be able to say,
Put money up
you
front.
have to be able to go to the city and say, hey, we need 300,000 of this million for this building. That's what we're trying to do it for free, and then it'll never get done in a timely manner.
Right. I don't
So
think
We
we
will do that.
Yeah, but you still have to, have a bid, like, not any donations to it, just to see what's going on with it.
Okay, and we can start working that out. This is only week 2.
Yeah.
Right,
Give
and
me
Greg,
a little bit of time, and I will start working on that, and using some of the information that Rigo came up with too, that we can look at, kind of propose what kind of things we are going to do. Because we know we've got to obey, let's see, the floor tiling, and that's a done deal now. We've already got it on the record, and we have to do that because that flooring in there needs replacing. So we've got to take that.
So, I think, I'm, whatever, but it sounds like we really just need to table this and work up some kind of an idea, floor plan, idea of what's going on in a rough budget to take it back to council and say, this is what we're coming up with.
Yeah, and the verbiage here doesn't require that we take any action. This is just an update.
Yeah.
But to your point, and I want to ask this, and I don't really have a dog in the fight. The community says they want a community center. does that necessitate the revitalization of that building? Because in my mind, hear me out, this is a community center, right?
Yes.
A paved parking lot with some pop-up tents on it is a community center, which could potentially be a huge savings in money. Now, I understand there's some historical value to the Cato building itself, but I agree. I think we need to have all the figures in front of us to make a informed decision. This is the total amount of money that this could potentially cost. However, understanding 90% of it is going to be volunteer, so. This is how much it would cost if we were to raise it and pave it and have people come and have dedicated little parks or whatever that looks like. I think we've got to have those figures in order to make an informed decision.
Yes.
I don't know, is this gonna be done to draw revenue, or is this?
I think so.
I don't know what the, I haven't looked back at the city council meeting, and maybe Janice could tell us what, I thought they sent out either in the paper or sent out things to ask what they wanted to do with the Cato building specifically. So it was sent out to the community, what do you want the city to do with the Cato building? And they said community center.
Sure.
So that's why that location.
I don't remember getting anything like that.
I didn't. I live here in town. I don't remember getting anything.
I think
But maybe I
I
missed it
did,
next
I
time.
live in town, I
I
got
was
it, I
more under
remember,
the
it's been a
assumption the
while,
city
but,
just got the building, what can we do with it?
no, it's been a while since I got that.
I mean, the whole point of downtown, correct me if I'm wrong, the revitalization is to draw businesses, so you can bring income in, and if the community center is not a thing that's generating revenue, then, it's kind of that aspect of it.
Right.
It's a liability.
The only point that I have on that is my daughter moved to Palestine and started working with the city. And the city had a pavilion, kind of like this, except about 4 times the size. They weren't using it. And she started doing a farmer's market.
Right.
And that has been very profitable for the city.
That was one of the things we were looking at, if we were gonna demo it, to create an area for, if it was salvageable, to keep the canopy.
Right. And from
Food
two
trucks, right, all
contractors
the
now,
stuff.
it is salvageable.
Right.
There's nothing there that's not salvageable that we can't work with to fix for less money than it would take to demo it or replace it.
Well, the other thing is,
That's the assumption.
Does it have a question?
I was just going to add, to my knowledge, council has not taken a specific vote on how they want that property to be used, just that they want to retain the property. The other thing you need to keep in mind when you're talking about working on a city facility is we can't just promise people that they can do the job. You sat through one of the meetings on looking at that. The grants are going to have specific requirements. The attorney's going to make sure that whoever is working on it's got to go out for bids, stuff like that. Whatever the process is, Jason's familiar with that too, as you know. So be very careful as you proceed in what and how you collaborate with people who want to help.
Kevin had mentioned that too.
And
we have to look at it like we've got to fund it, and then
Well-
if we could chop at that funding with,
And
you know.
you may find, as you're talking with people in the community, that it might be easier to do it as a nonprofit instead of as a city-owned facility.
Sure.
And if you do, then you can talk to the council about that. And maybe they'd be willing to, put it up, whatever. I don't know. There's lots of processes there too. But as far as asking the community, I haven't seen an official polling by the city on what the city residents want that to be. But that might be something you can ask the staff to put on the budget questionnaire that goes out later this year.
the other thing is there's 2 buildings there actually.
Yeah.
And my thought process, there's 3. My thought process was the blue one next to the mustard seed, once it's renovated, could be rented out and generate income for the city to pay for, say, the utilities on the community.
the city do that?
Well, they rented the building over by the police station to the Salvation Army, didn't they?
I am not
advised on how that contract worked or why it is no longer.
I don't, there is gray areas when it comes to city owning property.
So just a thought on that, and this is something that we looked at with the schools, right? Whitney ISD needs an ag barn. We need to own an ag barn. We have a very vibrant ag program, but we don't have an ag barn. $2.8 million to build an ag barn. However, one of the options that was looked at was sell a piece of property that the school owns to someone, have them build a $60,000 pole barn, which is what it would cost, and then donate it back to the schools. Because that's the problem that we run into. It's what Amy's bringing up. Is once this being a government entity is going to be tied into all kinds of requirements. That although there's wonderful contractors out there that will absolutely, and same here, our men's group would absolutely jump into options to do this. But that might be the best avenue for us if we can get all these contractors, all these entities to say they're willing to do it. Have the city sell this property for the $1 that they paid for it. Have those contractors work on it and then have them donate it back to the city once it's done, to alleviate all of those hoops that the city would have to jump through. Just a thought. It's do whatever we want, but that sure seems to cut a lot of red tape.
I mean, what I'm gathering is there's a lot of things we need to figure out. I think we still need to figure out what it's going to take to take it back to a parking lot. I know that a lot of people don't want that, but we at least know what that price is.
Yeah.
What it's going to cost to demo that building from to the park, make it a parking lot, and then a price to take it back to a building that somebody can walk into, and then we can just present it to council that they can figure out how they want to proceed forward. I mean, we are here to do the legwork for the council, but they are the ultimate decision makers. So if we give them 2 or 3 options, then it's up to them to figure out which option they want to proceed to. And if one of the options is to donate it to a nonprofit organization to do this work for no one is coming back, then the council will make that decision, not us. We're just relaying the information that.
It would probably have to go up for bid.
It would have to.
Yeah, but I mean, we could give that option as a deal, and if somebody wants to pay over the price for it, then that's awesome for us, the city of Whitney. So,
Yes, ma'am.
The city retains it, even though y'all get donations to rebuild it and whatever. The maintenance, insurance, water bills, like, still falls back on the city. And I don't know how many of you on the Parks Board actually live in the city and pay city taxes. I see a few of you do. But we have a lot of needs. My poor mailman's pothole in the city that she has to dodge needs to be addressed at some point too. But I see we have a tennis court that the city owned and
That's on the agenda.
and it's not been maintained. And so if we're adding, I feel like we're starting fires, not ever putting them out and moving on to the next. I would love there to be a community center, but do we need that right now? We need to figure out what the city needs most before we go on. Like I said, we have a farmer's market. How well does that do right now? It's the little downtown area. Is it enough that would be worth having
That's
a
on the
brand
agenda
new
tonight,
building?
too.
You know what I'm saying? I love, all these are great ideas, but I know that y'all are just here not to really to make a recommendation, but I'd really think about that if it was me.
I propose we go to the council and seek an entity that's willing to take this on, get the contractors that are willing to do the pro bono or close to pro bono work, have them, we'll have to go for it, but you can do a sealed bid where the city can pick whoever they want, so long as it's a sealed bid, and find somebody that will buy it for $1 or $1.50 so the city makes 50 cents. Have that entity do all of that work and then donate it back to the city. That just seems like the most clean cut.
My only question on that is, how do we guarantee it's done?
You don't. You don't.
Right.
You don't.
And that's if we do anything else, if we can guarantee it's done.
Right.
And that's the only advantage.
Right.
But if we had the city do it, then we had to open it up to bid, and we had to take the bid, it has to be 3 contracts, 3 bids, and then they bid the work, and they won't take 3. I mean, it has to be 3 legit companies. Like, I couldn't go in there and say, I'll rip out this floor. It would have to actually be a bid from a flooring company that's specialized in that, certified and all that stuff. So,
You're
We're not
saying
aware of
if
that.
they do the work, you're saying are you saying that that's if we use the money
If the
from the
city-
grant, or if we just go in there now? If we wanted to open the door tomorrow and start working with volunteers, you saying we have to
no,
get that
it's
approved?
a gray area because I mean it's one of those things like the park. I mean the city park, we have volunteers that do stuff, but it's not. We're not coming to the city for money, so we're just having people donate to us. We're doing the work out there with the city's blessing. But when you're talking about a building that's falling down, the liability of somebody going in there and demoing something wrong, and the building collapsing and all that is different than somebody painting the building.
Right, but
I found no evidence of any structural collapse from any of
Yeah,
the
it's
contractors and all. And now, that doesn't say that's not gonna happen
Yeah.
the next big rain or the next big storm. But right now, that is not necessarily an issue. And so let's do some more planning.
Yeah, we still can't remove the asbestos, so we would still have to
I mean, we're not-
get the city to okay to spend whatever that bid was to get it to that point.
I mean, we're not having to make a decision to, now.
No, but I think we shape what we're looking at next time.
Right.
So let's
Right.
come with
And I'll come
4
I'll come back with the figures
Yeah.
from Greg.
So 4 or 5 options, raise it to the ground, repair it as is, turn it into a shell. What do all those look like? And then how do we best execute that from there? Come with those options.
You also gotta remember equipment that goes in there, maintenance of the facility, who's cleaning it,
Who's insuring it?
that all adds
Who's
up.
liable? Which city ultimately?
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, it's a great point. What can we do now, even without grant money? And this would be a really great option to put on the agenda and let the attorney explain what our options are if we've got people ready to volunteer.
Right, because that, I don't.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
but
that's
yeah,
what
let's
I
get it- let's
talked
get
to
it-
Greg about is what can we start doing now?
I don't-
And the liability was the first thing I said when we met with him, and Charles said that his group, men's group they have insurance because they
Yes.
go out and do projects.
Sure.
I'm sure your men see, and I'm sure Greg does. So if it's a city building and the city says do it, if we went in and started doing anything to it, even if we were to sell it, it's going to bring more money if we make it
We
sellable.
can't do anything with the asbestos in it.
That's right.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay,
As
I
long
thought
as
it
we're
was,
certain.
but I thought it was to the point where we're going to just start going into it.
No, because
They're
it's
still on
all
top of
the,
it right
the
now.
only thing that's asbestos in there, from all the records I've had, is just the asbestos tile flooring that's under that carpet that's in there.
But what do you think about what she just said? If we just propose this to the council, to have the lawyer explain to us what options we can do,
Yeah.
not just keep shooting at
Right.
random things that are moving right
Well,
now.
right, because if Greg came back with a really good proposal, and I can't even let him start without city council's approval, then yes. So we need to find out what we can do.
I would say let's just propose this to the council. Do
Or
that
ask that it be on their agenda.
on their agenda, correct?
Yeah. To give us legal guidelines of what we're allowed to do at this point.
All right.
Yes. Any further?
Yeah. We don't have any act. There's no
No
requirement for
action.
action.
Well, council should give us legal guidance on the options, the guidelines that we need. Agenda number 12, the WWFL/WYS update. What update we're supposed to have?
I mean, they're here, we're here. I am the rep for WWFL right now because we're playing get anybody else up here. It's pretty much just going to talk about the relationship that we have going right now and how it's working and some things that aren't working and stuff like that. You want to start or you want me to start? So pretty much, I mean, we all agreed that they have games out there at the pits. They have their games. We got their schedule last week, right? All y'all games on Friday for the most part. Yeah. So they look like for the rest of the season, their games are going to be on Friday. We have games Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Everything's working. They won't put their coaches in our group chat, but we have started a group chat with me, Chris, Stefania, and my two baseball, softball players working there. Games have started. So far, they've played 2 games. Their first 2 games started yesterday. We are 2 or 3 weeks into the season. As far as I know, they didn't have any issues yesterday getting their games or anything like that going. So today we were worried about the rain. So far we were able to still keep our games going, so we haven't had the rain out yet or anything like that. So that'll happen here pretty soon. So practices were a little iffy there for a while, trying to figure out everybody's schedule for practices, but I think we've kind of worked that out as far as what's available and what's not available and all that. That's pretty much all I had. You want to add anything to it?
Hold on just a second.
No, I mean,
Are there any games on? Sorry. Are there any games on the weekend?
We have games on Saturday. Our developmental, we have 3 developmental games and a championship game on Saturday. It starts at 10, 11, 12. Champion, I don't remember if they play in that or if it's 10, 11, 12, 1 or something like that, but we have 4 games on Saturday. Take up 2 fields. The championship game, the champions game is our special needs team. I think the city's played and the fire department and all that, so that's pretty cool. That one we try to keep out by themselves because of the issue with that team, not issue, but just the environment of being around loudness and all that stuff. Sometimes some of those kids don't handle that. So usually they either start the day off or they end our day, so there's not a big crowd up there. And they go, I don't know my schedule, but it's every Saturday, and they're all their games here in Whitney. They played the baseball team, softball team, and the city. There's 3 games into it so far.
For the most part, it's been, pretty good. There's been a couple small bumps that we worked out. Mr. Craig Gill mentioned the coaches group. I explained to him exactly why we didn't join the coaches group. And so we do have an alternate communication line in the other group. However, we're not getting the updates on field availability through that group, and so there was a couple little small other things. I think one of them was a banner issue, but again, I think that's something we'll be talking about in the future of this meeting. But for the most part, man, we've been working together pretty good, Let's see, the schedulers have been doing really good together. At first, the schedule was a little off, but like you said, we kind of got that worked out. The younger kids, let's say like the 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds, at first were getting scheduled at like 7:30 p.m., for our association. But after discussion with Mr. Craig Gill, we did get that switched up to where the younger kids are now getting better availability. Let's see. But, I think we're all in the same boat. There's yesterday that place was completely crowded with all of our youth, everywhere you looked, our youth was out there doing something, whether this association or the other, it didn't matter. And so it was a good thing to see. That pretty much is the only updates I have. Now, however, I would like to say there is some conversations around about how the help, the lack of help per se from our association. I will say WWFL is doing an extreme amount of work out there, and our whole community is thankful for it. But on the other side of the token, the offers have been multiple times. Hey, I can help here, we can help here, we can help here, we can help here, and a lot of unanswered. So just wanted to kind of clear the air on a little bit of that. But other than that, man, I think it's been going.
You're talking about the shared maintenance.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The shared maintenance.
I was
Yes,
just going to
ma'am.
ask how that was going, but you're.
Yeah, it was going to be a gray area, and I think just the communication that Mr. Threadgill and I had is actually, there's a lot of room for growth there, to make things better. And I'm all for it. So that's about the only update I have.
So the question I have for the both of you is the schedule's working out fine right now.
So
Do you have a, like possession in basketball, do you have a, when it does conflict, you get it this time? Next time it conflicts, you get it? Is that already in place?
No,
Because it's going to happen at some point.
There's nothing like that in place, and we're hoping, because all their games are on Friday, and Pony, really the big issue is going to be, and let's face it, the two issues we faced was our season started before theirs, and then when they wanted all the practice time, we were in games. So the practice times got scheduled where they could. They used the soccer fields up until soccer started. They used the grass area by the bathrooms and all that stuff. The other issue is going to be is our season will end first. So that means we will be on a deadline of trying to get our seasons in by a certain date. With them having Fridays for the most part, we don't foresee having to schedule on Fridays. Like, we're not going to bulk their games to do it. It just might be one of those things that the fields are used right now. Like right now, there's 7 games going on right there on 4 fields, or 5 fields, but Frankie's doesn't get played on tonight. So this is going to be is we get a rain out like on a day like today. Those 7 games are going to get split between Tuesday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, or whatever. And it's going to get to the point where practices are going to get involved. That kind of stuff. If they have a rain out, let's say like next week, it's supposed to rain a couple of days next week, and we get a couple of games rained out, and they get Friday rained out, it's just going to be fun trying to find that allotted time. Nobody happens on Sundays, and the associations really don't try to play on Sunday. I know last year we made up some games on Saturday and stuff like that, and when it gets to the end of the year, you start trying to find times when you can. But that's going to be the next hurdle, because right now I think y'all have 4 next Friday, right? So like if they get rained out on a Friday, they could technically go to their league and say, hey, you make double headers the following week, because there's still 4 open time slots. So we're hoping to be able to work through that. It's going to be when their season starts coming to an end and we're still in it, them coming and saying, I got to play on Tuesday when our schedules are already the park's full because our games are being made up and all that. That's going to be the problem. So as far as the maintenance goes, he does reach out and ask for help. And I mean, a lot of times I get sidetracked, I forget to answer, or I'll tell him, hey, I'm going out there to do this, and he's come out and help. We need fields, power wash the whole complex, and trim some trees and did stuff like that. He offered to help today with the chalking of the fields before our game, and we had 7 people out there, so I didn't respond. It wasn't that I ignored them; it's just I was in the little chalking fields, we didn't respond. As far as money goes, I mean, we are about 21 grand into that park this year, just doing maintenance and updates and upkeep and all that stuff just in the park. That's painting, doing probably some more dirt, did some stuff. That does include the 2 connexes that we supplied. Those are our connexes, so that's not like a city deal. I mean, those are ours. So bought new drags. We had to buy 9 new bases, 10 new bases this year. They did buy bases too. Bases didn't get picked up last year at the end of the year. When the season started, there was no bases out there when we started. Stuff like that. I mean, I think last year we had about 6 bases, so it's kind of one of those things that we can pick up our bases, but it's one of those things that if it's a city deal, we can't just store them and take them. So it's kind of how the off season goes. Other than that, we're going to have some struggles coming up because it's the rainy season, and we'll have to figure it out and make what's best. But I mean, at the end of the day, they have 18, we have 19, so it's just going to be. I don't mean to mean this in a mean way. I hope they get rained out before we get rained out, because their 4 or 5 games are going to be easier to schedule than my 8 or 10 if it's on the wrong day. But our group knows that if they do get rained out and we have practices on Friday, game times get priority over practice. So there's that policy in place, and they understand the same thing with ours. So We'll go from there. Donations, registration fees, I mean, just look at everything. Yeah. Yeah, our registration fees are a little bit higher, than theirs, but we got registration fees, our numbers are higher. We have 242 kids this year in baseball. Then we have sponsors, donations and stuff like that. I mean, people really do want to do stuff out there at the park. I mean, that's just part of it, and we started last year, making improvements, and this year we got lucky and people just opened up and wanted to keep that going. Yes.
Since you're both here, I had a question. We were talking about doing a community potluck at the park, at the main park, on July 5th, which is a Sunday afternoon. The state of Utah has issued an invitation to all the states to do this huge community potluck on the same day. There was concern at the council meeting about whether having some tables and canopies up right around that bathroom playground area, kind of like where we did the Texas Independence Day thing, would conflict with what you guys are using.
You said Sunday?
Sunday, July 5th.
I know we don't do anything
On Sunday, I don't think we do
Sorry.
anything on Sunday either, so I don't think it'd be any.
The only thing that we have working,
Okay, never mind.
Never mind, she's on the agenda.
Well, we can just say we already addressed it when we get to it.
I will say about the whole schedule thing, before it sounds a little too overwhelming. The good thing about it is there's a lot of options that are available for our association in the event that a home game gets rained out, and then it starts conflicting with the schedule for both associations. We do have the benefit of local cities around us, that we actually play in the same league, that we can always reach out in the event that it makes things work for the better and the good, So, I mean, there's a lot of options available that can help, and I'm sure they have the same opportunities too. So,
I was so zoomed in that I got to 15, and I was like, wait a minute.
there's a lot of opportunity there.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Other than that, though, working together has been great. We did have one little small issue about a banner, hanging up a sponsorship banner on the fences.
We're gonna talk about that now.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Item number 13, sponsorship, advertising for fields.
So, I'll take this one. So we did have an issue with the banners. We communicated back and forth on banners, and me and Chris Brennan were talking about maybe the city taking sponsorships for the fields instead of it being which youth association has which sponsors, all that stuff. And this is kind of my thinking on it is every field out there is named after somebody in this town or somebody is of somewhat importance. Couldn't tell you so many people, I'm not from here. But this is where I was kind of leaning towards is like Frankie Rose. We could do Frankie Rose and then we could do sponsored by. So it'd still be Frankie Rose and we offer field sponsorship for the fields. It would be something that we could look at maybe doing something. I know as far as we go, so the Pony would like to start hosting tournaments out here. They would like to start hosting all-star tournaments and grow the area and do all that stuff. Lights are a big issue. Lights are this year are a big issue. They can understand that. Like right now, we probably have like 2 or 3 poles that it'd be easier to count the lights that are working than that are not working out there. Every pole has 1 or 2 lights burned out on them or just not working.
Are they on the Texas New Mexico Power or
No,
the
they
city?
are the city.
The city?
The lights are. Does anybody know the lights that? You know
Not very modern per se.
Yeah, they just
Do
replaced
you
them
know
last
anything
year
about the
too.
lights?
So
Can you input?
they're the old halogen bulbs. I mean, it is what it is. I guarantee you, if you look at a movie from back in a sports complex back built in the 80s, that's what this place looks like. As far as lights go. They're old halogen light bulbs. I know the city looked at getting a bid to do the lights at one point, and it was what 150-ish.
Yeah, we were running about 40,000 a year.
So that's kind of where we were looking at maybe trying to do field sponsors to try to raise money to get these lights fixed. They're all on telephone poles. If you're standing on first and the kid throws it from third, that ball wants to find that light half the time. There is at least once a week where somebody is taking a ball, they lose it in the line.
I thought like poles outdated, they're improperly wired. That's part of our problem. The electric remote transistors up on the poles, so some of them like issues, some are transistor issues.
4 of the fields don't have grounds. It's just a 2-wire system.
And sponsorship right now is the advertising of the fields.
And that would go towards the replacement, the upgrading of these lights. Yep.
And then we can talk about the other issue too, but that's kind of what led to this banner issue is we're getting money. People are donating money to us to do stuff. We're donating money to them to do stuff. But it's one of those things like, what is the easiest way to actually get money to truly do stuff to this park that needs a lot of work? In the last 2 years, we've dumped almost 35, 40 grand into the park, and lights. And that just, and you can't really tell other than this year when we put paint on it. You know, it's just there's so much work that can be done out there that we need to find a way to keep it going.
Wasn't it originally issued as city property and the city would take over all of that maintenance and repair? Was that or out?
The city does do maintenance and repair. I mean, yes, they do any of the big stuff. I mean, they have a budget for the park, but the park budget is so small compared to for how big it is that at the end of the year there's no budget left. And that's with, you know, we mow it weekly. They mow when they can out there. The kind of the way it works, we mow the baseball fields, the actual fields, and if we have time, we'll mow that whatever we can mow. And then the city kind of takes care of the outskirts. And you can go by there, and there'll be 1 or 2 guys out there mowing. We're fixing to get to a point where somebody can mow literally every day out there. And if you look at that, then you know that right there is alone. Last year's budget went to the leftover budget went to stands, right?
Yeah.
Got rid of the old. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's been updated with the city budget, but it's not big enough to go say we need $50,000 worth of lights for
Do you
one
have
field.
people lined up for sponsorship?
No, this is just something that kind of stemmed from the conversation that me and Kim had that we'll get to.
Do you need city permission to do that?
I don't know. And also, what kind of led to this is nobody really is under the understanding if we can even have banners out there. That's where this all kind of came from. We have permission from the Corps when we reached out last year saying that we can have banners on the field, but they can't be pointing towards the parking lot or be pointing towards the entrance. They have to be on the field, like field proper.
You can do that.
So, but it's just one of those things that we don't know. I mean, it is a funny property when Corps owns it and the city leases it on what we can and can't truly get away with. And then not all of it's even on Corps land. Some of it's city owned and some of it's on Corps land. And I think only 2 outfields are really Corps property. You know, if you look at the maps and stuff.
Actually, I'm not sure what plane map, but I actually relied on it. Because everything we can find online is what they have. And as for their signs, they're pretty picky about that. For some reason, they don't like temporary signs. They prefer you take them down.
The conversation I've had with them is what they're worried about is what the property's designed for. The property's designed to be flooded. So it's more of an environmental deal. If that whole property gets flooded, it doesn't matter if that sign is being in the water or not in the water. They treat it like it could. What would happen if that property was flooded? What is it doing to the lake? What's it doing to everything? So that's kind of where the weird stuff comes in.
Look at that. Look at a real map.
So that's what started it. What brought it all to everybody's forefront is we have banners out there. We have banners we had banners out there last year when everybody did it, and we did reach out to Corps, and Corps told us we could put these banners on during the season. They have to come off after the season, which was what we did. Then Chris Upton reached out and asked if they could put banners up. And I said I didn't feel like it was right because of all the, we were on the contract. We were the main primary maintenance people. We've done all the maintenance out there and we're providing all the money for it. That it wouldn't be fair for my sponsors that did donate money to that to get the same recognition as their sponsors that donated to their teams. That was my view on it. They disagreed with it, and that's where we led to this, to brought up, can we have sponsor banners out there? Would it be better for the city to kind of take over the sponsor that and then go into that if people are donating to update the lights or updating the field and all that stuff. And that's where we kind of morphed into this, and that's why I got put onto this agenda of how to handle it.
I feel like that kind of money is really not that hard. You know, people sponsor our children all across this city, and regardless of what association the kids play for, they should get recognition for sponsoring the child that plays a sport for our city. You know, it's a privilege. And other than that, the way the Rocky Mountain, it wasn't right that we put a banner out there because it makes it look like great for the work. That has nothing to do with my agenda here, just taking credit for anybody's work. To be quite honest with you, you can go back and there's proof and evidence that backs my claim because I've spoken on behalf of the WWFL for doing good work out there and improving the facility, because I do believe that's a good thing, and I do believe they did it for the riders, you know, for the children of our city, which is the same thing that any sponsor's trying to do.
I would think
And
so.
that's
I
why
would think
feel
there'd be
sponsorship
room.
is really-
I didn't say that they couldn't have banners out there at all. I just said y'all can put banners up when your team plays in the dugout, and I said no. My opinion was no on the permanent banners. So that's where I was at.
Because it looked like we were trying to take credit.
If I can, so for last year was the first time that WFL took over the baseball softball. The previous 4 years I was president of WA, and then I was a volunteer for the 8 years before that. So there's never been a sponsored issue whenever it came to banners or whatnot. It was just you kind of put it out there because they're local, it sponsored your kids, and as many people that can see it, whether it doesn't matter what association it's from, that was good for that local company because even the kids that are whatever association, vice versa, we want everybody that's from Whitney to see those, or even from out of town. If an out of town kid comes and they're playing pony with WFL and they're from Cleveland, we want them to see that it's sponsored by a local restaurant. So when they leave there, they go eat at that restaurant. So I get the deal about talking to the core and all this, and I would love to know who that was, so that way if there was about, they're not picky on sponsored banners. It's certain different things like don't park here that is not permanent. And again, I know because I was in it for so long. I've been doing it so long, or been involved in the last few years. No, I haven't been. But again, I think when it comes to sponsored banners, it's about getting the view for their sponsors and our sponsors, so they should all be permanently left for at least for the season, so that way they get as much view as possible, because that's what a sponsor's there for. Now you can say, you know, they're for to get on the back of the jerseys and all that for sure, but at least for our local community, so that way every team, not just one organization or the other, it doesn't matter if they're from Cleveland or Hillsborough, we want them to see that Sonic sponsor, so when they're leaving out of here, they stop by Sonic, right? Or Exxon sponsor, so when they leave here, they fill up with gas, because that's why it's sponsoring for the community and the kids, right? So I think you can like nitpick this and this and this if you want to really try to, but I think for the community of all the local community sponsors, I think for each group, they should get as much visibility as possible, instead of saying just, oh, this one or just this one, or put it up during your game but then take it off. Well, I want our sponsors to be able to be seen by the people that come on Mondays and Tuesdays when we're not playing, so when they leave, they have that visibility and they go stop at that restaurant or that gas station, and it brings money back to the community, not just on Fridays when we do. So that's how I feel about it.
Thank you. So are we looking at proposing to the city council as to who should have ownership? They take over ownership?
I think we go in me thinking. We ask the council for a true map, right? And if it is the case that the Corps only owns a very small portion of that, then this is a city park. This is our jurisdiction. And then on the agenda for next month, we come up with a policy saying, hey, X amount goes to these guys, X amount goes to these guys, but I think it's reasonable also. Yes, it's for the kids. Yes, it supports that organization, but we have a need for the park overall to replace some infrastructure. A portion of those proceeds need to go towards a pot that goes to fix the park, the lighting in the park. I think that's reasonable.
That's the way I hear it too.
Just put that on the agenda for next month, and we need to find out where we're at first.
Right.
Core.
From the core, but after that, let's put it on the
Now,
agenda, let's make it
I
happen.
might be speaking wrong, but Core does only own a small portion of that, but they do treat the whole park as if underneath their inspection. So we might not have that option. But like I said, they
Flood zone maps actually extend further than the markers, like Hillcat. It actually, it's almost double the size of what it shows on Hillcat. Because I had the same question, because we keep getting inspected on bathrooms and stuff, but it actually covers.
When it is city property, we, with the city's permission, can put any banners up we want.
That's what we need to figure out before we make a
But
decision.
within the city, do we have room for both? I mean, it should be.
Well, and that's, yeah, okay, we'll see for the next one.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
I guess, should just one of y'all just go to the Corps and just have them do a formal letter, like of who owns what? I guess you'd probably both go up and talk to them and just see where all their floods are and see what they say about having the signage. And then I think, Jason has a great idea of just making everybody responsible. It is about the kids, and I've heard both of y'all say it's about the kids, and we have a great opportunity. Y'all are both great organizations, so we can work together. We're just making ourselves even better.
There was an email dated March 23rd. Has anybody heard anything on that? From the court. They were sent to the court.
That was on the next agenda item.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Joe, did you have a question?
Joe?
I would love to get maps and stuff, so I would like to see those, like, bring the business parts working.
Okay. I'd say we recommend getting that.
I can get a packet together, I'll include the release.
Yeah, that's what we need to make a decision. We need to know what we have jurisdiction over and what we don't.
And then if we want, I can always go to the court for clarification on it, just like
And if you do, I'd like to go with.
I usually just email them, but.
Oh, okay.
In the meantime, can these two work out where they put the banners that they currently have so that we don't have to wait a whole another month for them to put them up?
Do as
I
they've been
mean,
doing.
can they go ahead and put up banners
When we
and,
do it as you like you've been doing it, and everybody go on.
I mean, if you make them wait a whole nother month to put up banners, then you're almost to the end of the season.
I would think we have room out there.
Okay, for our team, we coach, put it on the team.
I mean, we
We
need
take
to-
our banner with us, we hang it right beside the devil, home and away games.
We need to
We take them
know
with us. They're-
permanently,
So,
but
I love the ideas, they're great and stuff, but from a community standpoint, ultimately, there's like 400, 800 feet of fence per field. So technically, I mean, I don't think it's a 4-foot banner is not gonna take up that much room, you know? And that being said, most of the funds allocated to these organizations it's for the kids. I mean, I'm curious how you guys allocate, say somebody donates $1,000, that doesn't just go towards y'all's baseball, right? Y'all have several other sports too, right?
No, when it comes to, yeah, we have all the sports, but like the lights that we did at the hangar gym, somebody donated the money for that. They said this money has to go to that, that's where the money went to. Out there, the banners that we have out there, they're different level of sponsors that go to maintenance of the park out there. Baseball, all that stuff. Those banners will get hung at the concession during like football and volleyball and all that stuff. But I mean, no, there is room out there. It's just
I think what I'm trying to say is it's more or less not a sponsorship for the fields. Fields is owned by the city. It's a sponsorship for the kids, not necessarily just the fields. And I understand y'all are working together as two organizations, but with that being said, these guys are donating to the kids. They're not all donating to replace the baseball field. You know what I mean?
Sure, but the kids,
They do benefit.
they
from
have to have
that,
the lights,
yes.
right? So,
Yes, I totally understand that.
and I'm not saying like the whole thing. I'm
It's
I'm
a-
thinking a percentage of whatever they
I think that's
hang.
beneficial.
What
you
say?
say,
Whatever,
it's
100%.
big as a
My deal
whole.
was,
Yeah.
I think it's beneficial.
but my moving forward would be 100% that it would be field sponsored. That's where that kind of morphed into, would be next year or after this season, we would have time to actually look at getting bids for the lights and saying it's going to cost this much, and then we would have it where somebody is actually sponsoring this field to do the lights, and then at that point, if we wanted to, then we could discuss, do they get banners, do we get banners, do we both go to dugout banners, do we do whatever, because somebody wants to put $30,000 into a field, I'll be more than happy not to put a banner on that field if that's what it means to get new lights. The two things were two different issues that kind of morphed into this agenda item of what is a good way to make the park better, because the park is a very nice park. I mean, as far as the room and what can be out there and what we could be doing, there's so much more that park could offer, but the lights is what's holding us back as far as that's the biggest thing. That's what sets us apart from Cleburne or Hillsboro or anything like that. Field-wise, our fields are right on par with everybody around us. It's the lights, and that's what kills us.
So with that logic, if I come in with $100,000, do I get all to say so?
You don't get to say so. You got to buy lights, though.
But I don't get to say so with the field, who gets to put what on it?
You get to say so on buying the lights for that field. I mean, you're sponsoring.
But if I
the
say,
field.
hey,
That's not
you
how
get to put
sponsorship
banners
works.
up, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean.
Yeah, we need to move on, but I think that's where we go forward. We need to know what we're looking at, what we can dictate, and then that'll be an agenda item to where we can say, this is what we dictate.
For another month, you're not gonna get much sponsor be out there, and this is before the season, so I understand that.
Yeah,
I guess
I don't know what's legal. I don't know what I can say.
Right, but we don't know that it's not. So like, let's say we put it up, who's gonna take it down? Like, again, because for the last decade that I've volunteered as a coach, it's never been an issue before. So if we put something up, at least if the board wanted to come take it down and say, you can't do this, they would let you know. So I think that's where we're at.
If we recommended it to the council, then they'd be the ones to say yes or no.
At the end of the day, we can't make recommendations. It'd be council makes the decision. If the council says no banners, we'll take our chance.
So like, if we go up there and put our sponsor banner out tomorrow.
I get it, but I've got a responsibility to the council to not put them in legal jeopardy, right? So I would love to say, and I agree, I'm kind of on the same line. Hey, just let's do whatever we do, and it's the city's property, and let's roll. But I also can't put the city in a liability not knowing what the truth is behind this. So we have to have that truth before we can make a recommendation to the council. I think we have to.
So that's two meetings, right? It would have to be, you'd have to find out if it's yes or no, then you would have to go to another meeting, so then that June meeting when the season's over. I just make sure I understand that.
Unfortunately, I think that's the diligent way to do it. I hate that. I understand where we're at, but
That's a special meeting.
unless we could have a call meeting.
I don't want to, but, so that we can't, I mean, because we're, in that sense, right? You can't even have our little ones that we take your game on and then take them off here, because according to that, we don't know what's right or wrong. There should be no sponsorship on anything on or off in between games, because
I don't think temporary is an issue while you're there, is it?
I think that was something that you just brought up, that they get upset with temporary things that are on there, or signs, because they're real picky. That's what Chris just said. So it ties it can't be either or, right? Because it's either no sponsors at all, because we're not sure, or you can't temporary do it if you can't do it at all. It's either yes or no.
100%. Well, if it wasn't on the agenda tonight, they've been doing it all along, right?
Well, we haven't been because we were
You
told that
haven't
we were told that we couldn't.
We have.
They told us that we couldn't because they didn't want us, their sponsors, our banners.
We have an
Are your
email
banners
from,
up permanently, or are they taken down?
well, vinyl banners we take out then this evening, because that's what the board told us we could do last
Same
year.
thing we have.
Permanently, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say this is a big growing pains thing. This is the first time that they've had to deal with two different leagues. You know, unfortunately, we have a legal contract with the city that gives WWFL, you know, that first right of access. And this is a lot of stuff to work out. I don't envy you guys figuring this out. This is out of my league, you know. But I will say that one of the ways that we have gotten around placing signs before is to have volunteers hold signs. So if you wanted to work out something like that, holding a sign is different legally than placing a sign.
I don't even think that's the issue. It's either we can have signs up at the city park, or we can't. It can be sometimes or not. So again, in all fairness, it should be the same way with both. Regardless of the prior use of the field, that's piece of the field, not signage or what's legal unless the core thing. It's either yes, you can, or no, nobody can.
I wish that was that easy.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think we can have a precedent set for next year. Unfortunately, the timeline is what it is, but I think we have a due diligence to make sure that we do it right.
So understand, no signs, no sponsor signs.
Yeah, and there's no action on this agenda item anyway. It's not for a vote tonight. It's just an information thing. So we technically can't say how much time to put your signs up right now. It's just not on the agenda.
No, all we can say is the contract with the city is with Kevin Drew, so he has priority and say so. And what I remember of that contract when we talked about it was that he has the primary, you guys agreed to get along, if there was a dispute, we called Chris. So is that what everybody else recollects? So
That's a simple version of it.
yeah, that's what I got out because I'm not a baseball mom or grandma. And so all that baseball stuff is new to me, but that's what I got out of the contract. That he was the larger for his primary and basically has to say so, but if
Say
you
so
don't get
on the use of the, it's prior to the
of
field,
everything.
of
But
the
if
whole
you're-
entire park.
No,
That's not what it says. It's prior use of the field.
Basically,
Not
they
right,
had
right, I mean, yeah.
But basically, he's supposed to get along, and if there's a dispute, you go to Chris, and that's what we've done tonight. And Chris is going to get from the floor.
All right, we gotta move.
Yeah, we gotta move on.
All right, regular agenda item number 14, recommendation of the park board to amend ordinance 4.12.004 to allow food vendors in the city park, contingent of the Corps of Engineers response from email dated March 23rd, 2026. I haven't seen this email.
I know of it. I have not seen it
You
either.
have pulled up.
You have more?
Can you speak up, Chris? Sorry.
Currently, under ordinance 412.004, permitted location. Subject to provisions of this article, mobile food vendors shall be permitted to establish a stationary location to conduct business in the following zoning districts. And it's B1, B2, certain B3 areas. Others not, or purpose, not currently zoned for agriculture.
Okay. So we're going to make we potentially are going to make a recommendation to the city council. I just want to make sure I'm talking this out so I can understand myself. If the Corps of Engineers approves,
Yes.
we're going to make a recommendation to the council to allow food vendors in the city park, even though it's currently not zoned that way.
Yeah,
Whereas
so the issue was, our opening day, we had food trucks out there. They can be in the parking lot, but they cannot be inside the actual gates. So we had to set up food trucks out in the parking lot because that is the way that the rule is written. And nobody really understood why food trucks couldn't get inside the gate. So that's where we found this zoning issue that might be the cause behind it.
Will it be the other side of the fence, city property anyway? Maybe not, maybe, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, so we had 2 food trucks. We had one down there by Frankie in that parking lot, and we had one up by the Black Gate by the bathroom. And then we did have an issue of, we just set the food truck up in one spot, and everybody was happy with it, and then the fire department showed up and said, you're impeding the entrance, so we had to move that food truck.
But you could potentially put it out on the parks area.
We could
get more out there.
We could bring it
easily
in next to
accessible.
the concession stand and have that. I mean, the other issue is they all have to run off generators. It's not a big deal, but there's no power out there. So, like, we could bring them in between 2 fields if we wanted to have a snow cone vendor set up. This would allow for them actually inside the actual gates.
Okay, it says recommendation for the park board to amend the ordinance, blah, 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 to allow food vendors.
We'd have to,
When you amended ordinance,
we'd have to go to council and let them know that they would.
We have to agree to make a recommendation.
Gotcha.
And then they would still have to do the same thing that they did for the sidewalk and all that. It's not gonna be a simple thing. We're just bringing it to their attention.
Do we need to motion? Yeah, I'd make a motion that we recommend to the city council to amend the ordinance 4.12.004 to allow food vendors inside the city park contingent on the board of
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye. 15.
Okay, item number 15, approved special permit application for Whitney Fire and Rescue for vendor fair with arts and crafts and food for Whitney Volunteer Fire Department fundraiser.
I'm Wayne Price, Fire Chief, and we're submitting an application to have a special event on June the 27th downtown. We're calling it Smash and Dash. What we're doing is we're gonna have a car set up downtown, let people beat on it all day, then at 3 o'clock, we're gonna demonstrate on the rescue tool. We're gonna have vendors downtown selling their arts and crafts or whatever they wanna sell. And we're proposing to close the streets from Washington, Colorado, San Jacinto, North Brazos, from Washington to Railroad. Make a T of it downtown. We're gonna start it off with a 5K run that morning, and then all the events downtown throughout the day.
And they still don't have that's forthcoming, a route where they're gonna run that 5K route.
Yes, we're gonna get the route established after we got go through all the hoops to get everything approved.
My only question there, Chief, is, and I've got a special interest here, my church is right there downtown.
Yes, sir.
Right? So all of this is going to be done on Saturday the 27th. It'll be completely clean and ready for a bunch of people to park there the morning of the 28th.
That's correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Would that go in front of the pizza place and where their business is?
Yes.
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 Have anybody spoke to them?
We had, yeah, we was waiting to get all the approval, then we're gonna start talking to everybody.
We all might be good things.
Well, and we don't want to shut down like all of Railroad. Basically right there where Railroad and Brazos meet, because we want to bring in we thought we would bring in like a game warden and a state trooper and a sheriff for the kids to walk around, kind of like a touch a truck thing. And just kind of like a little U shape right there, so it's not going to block all of Railroad. And just like we're not going to take up all of Brazos up to Jefferson, it's going to go from Washington to Jefferson so that people still have access to Ace Hardware and stuff like that.
Well, if they've got that other side of Railroad,
Right.
Customers can still park on that
Right,
side.
it's basically just like that U shape right there where they meet.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. I make a motion we approve the special permit application for Whitney Fire Rescue.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Item number 16, approved permit for Whitney Farmers Market to be held on Saturday, Memorial Day weekend to Labor Day weekend.
So we're not requesting for the any changes from what we had last year. Work with the charge of that.
Y'all don't even go as far down to us anyway, so.
But last year, we got the approval was from Washington all the way to Railroad, just in case we're growing. We do have more vendors this year. We've already had more people apply.
That's awesome.
So we are going to be growing, hopefully. Me personally, the last few years prior to last year, we've bounced around all over town. We've had it at one point at the Chamber of Commerce. We've had it outside of town by the Eubank drugstore. And so having it in a centralized location was great last year. What I made off of it was 10 times more than I made with the location. So as far as, and for the businesses that are open, it brought in a lot of people last year to the other businesses. And the only one now that it's affecting that would be open during that time period is possible. It's a gun. We have just like the church and everything with
I'd like to make a motion to approve the permit.
Yep, I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 17, approve special permit application for Lake Whitney Chamber of Commerce for America 250 program, the 51st Pioneer Days, and the 17th Annual Grinch Festival.
Ooh, whole year right there in one shot. They're all well.
One easy yes.
That's nothing to add to what's included. Then I'll make a motion. We approve the special permit application as the bundles there.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 18, approve special permit application for Whitney Youth Sports Kickball Tournament fundraiser and end of season tournament.
Just you guys?
Yes, sir. We were wanting to do a couple tournaments. It helps pay our umpire fees throughout the season. It also, we sponsor a lot of kids that unfortunately can't afford to join youth associations. We've sponsored a lot of them this year. We plan on sponsoring some more in the future years. And so we use these things because we don't have access to the concession stand, which is typically how you would generate the money for umpire fees and things of such. And so this is why we put in the request to do the tournaments, so we could generate the money to keep funding, the traditional things that youth organizations do.
My only problem on the two is we are accessing to the fields until noon or 1 o'clock on those Saturdays. Other than that,
Yeah, we would definitely start
and
out.
your permit asks for the whole park from 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
The permit
It says
asks
for all
for
the
8 o'clock in the morning to 10.
No, we can all do that to where it's actually the guys champion for sure. I would never want to stop the association, especially with our previous agreement.
As agreed upon and amended.
Yeah, I think these have to be presented to the city council, so we just need to change that on there.
Yeah, we just have to change the amendment each time.
Yeah. So long as that's being approved, I don't have a problem.
Okay. Motion to move forward with amending the current.
Yeah, I'll make a
Permit.
motion that we approve the special permit with the agreed upon amendment of the completion for the youth sports football tournament.
And in the season tournament.
Oh, yes.
We have two tournaments.
Yeah, and the season tournament.
All those in favor? You have enough to write down, so thank you.
Now, here's your potluck. And
I know the street lights came on, so we all gotta go home. Item number 19, discuss American 250 potluck at the city park on July 5th.
Amy brought this up at the city council meeting and said she wanted to do this.
Hey, Upton, I'm with you.
I was supposed to say ask me because I was the only park board member there, so my comment to her was that I needed to check with Kevin to make sure he didn't have any activities at the park going on that day, which is Sunday, July 5th, which obviously he probably was not. And her idea is to have a potluck, exactly what it says, and invite the entire community to bring tables, food, games,
I'm gonna be there.
And
I'll be there.
She's gonna do it whether she's the only one there or not. But as a park board, if we can help support her and just get it out to the community that it is not, I guess it would be considered a city-sponsored function.
Well, and that was the question, was whether the city was interested in sponsoring it as a city-sponsored event, because that gives us access to use the city website and the city Facebook page to advertise that event. That's basically it.
I don't have a problem with that as long as we're not asking the city to put out any money, which we're not. And
I mean, we've been trying to figure out something to do for our 250 anyway, so that would be a good thing for the city to step up
And
to.
I even told her I would try to get donations from the grocery store, some hot dogs and buns, if she can find somebody to bring a grill down there.
The Lions Club, I know the Whitney Lions Club has a grill thing, and for the record, I did email the Department of Health and Safety and find out about getting a temporary food permit for a one-time event like this. So.
They're gonna require you to have a food handler's license?
1776. I don't know. I got to go double check all that stuff out. We're going to get a permit to have a potluck in America to celebrate our independence.
It doesn't interfere with either one of us.
And this is only a discussion, so we don't really have to take any action other than, hey, I'd like to have a church show up out there too. That'd be really cool.
Right, everybody go down there.
Canopies are going to be the big deal, I think, because it's July in Texas.
Well, that could be part of the recommendation and the advertising.
I've got 10.
There you go.
I thought if anybody had like portable carnival things.
If somebody wants.
So to advertise this on the city, what did you say we had to do?
Basically just to allow the city to sponsor the event. And that way the city can, yeah.
We could recommend it to the city.
We could recommend it to the city that they do that.
Right.
Let's fulfill that right. So we recommend the city to sponsor it.
And just, I know it's not on the agenda for this particular thing, but I would encourage the Parks Board to recommend at some point, even if just during public comment, that all of the 250 events be co-sponsored with the city. So, because the Chamber's doing one at the Memorial Park, and as many as we can put out on the Facebook pages and on the city calendars. I mean, every bit helps.
So we didn't have to make any motion on it. Item number 20.
Discuss tennis courts.
Discuss tennis courts.
Because this was brought up by July at one of our meetings. I didn't even know. Right. I didn't even know we had tennis courts, but because she brought it up, I thought, well, it's only fair to check it out. So I went and visited the tennis courts twice, took videos, pictures, called around, found out the history. This estimate that I just gave you is just a ballpark that a gentleman gave me. I contacted him. I sent him my videos, my pictures, the map of the area. So because I went actually on Amy's Facebook page. I Googled on Facebook Whitney tennis courts, and you had put on there a plat and everything. So I sent him all of that to get a bid, and he sent me this back. And without even seeing it, he's saying about $158,000 to resurface those tennis courts. And then I talked to Greg and asked him to go by there, Greg Younger, and he did go by and look at them, and he said it's not something he does, but with his knowledge of construction, he is guesstimating about probably $30,000 a course, which that would be much cheaper than this. But just to give us a ballpark of what we're dealing with, and this, with everything else that has to be done in the city, this would have to be a strictly fundraising kind of a thing. What I did also do is I called Jason Mintz, who was born and raised here, and I said, when are those tennis courts built? And he is, because walking encyclopedia of Whitney knowledge. And I did find out from the city that that land was deeded from the Corps to us in 1976. The tennis courts were built in the early 1980s by a woman who lived here and donated the money to build them, and money after that every year to maintain them to the city. But then the city dropped the ball in the early 90s and stopped maintaining them, so she stopped donating. So the city never really paid any money to put them in or build them. So if we rebuild them, just with this and what Greg said, you're looking at probably a minimum of $100,000.
And also know that on the FEMA map, that shows to be in a floodplain.
Really?
I don't know how often, that might have been a question you should have asked, is how often has it gone underwater?
And then the other thing that I did also see in my research was that the city has a contract with the Corps of Engineers that expires in 2028. And I don't know if that's just for that parcel of land or if it's the FAR part that does it. So that needs to be addressed and because that's coming up fast. And I'm sure they move as slow as everything else.
Sewer plant's on that same property.
So anyway, I wanted to do this just so that, because it's been brought up, that it is an issue that we would like to have done, of course. But I also talked to the Lions Club because they at one point last July presented something to the city. They were trying to get a grant. Anyway, it never went anywhere. I talked to her for a very long time. She does still have a few $1,000s in a fund where they sold bricks to raise money for the tennis courts and playground area, but it never came to fruition. So it's just
That would have
for
been
us
great
to
on video.
have knowledge of if we do ever, somebody wins the lottery or we get a bunch of money.
I wonder if we could repurpose it, just because tennis is not the thing.
Well, what we talked about is half tennis, half pickleball, and basketball.
I've seen the one that the Lions Club had how they professionally had done, and it was an all-purpose court.
All-purpose.
It was basketball, tennis, all within that footprint, same footprint. You know, and stripe, different colors, that way you.
I mean, I think it would be really cool if we had money though. The money's the issue for everything.
I don't know how many people, you drive by the hangar every night, but, you know, the old tennis courts that are right there by the hangar.
Tearing them up, right?
No, they took down the fence, it's a safety concern, but somebody, playing with the booster, they put a basketball goal out there. But if you drive by there right now, there's probably 20 or 30 kids playing basketball.
Yeah.
So, I think if we're going to try to do something to utilize it, would be just to put up a basketball goal. They don't have power at the hangar, they don't have anything, and just keep it mowed and just give it as an opportunity for the space to be used by somebody. Somebody's using it now on Saturday to do dog training out there.
Pause place.
Oh, that
Yeah.
whole place, yeah, I did see that on Facebook. The fence can be fixed by the tech shop. They said they would volunteer on, they had one charity day or something, they would fix the fence, and the lights can be fixed by Texas New Mexico Power, I believe. So, I mean, they can probably do that without an expense to us, if we do it.
Actually, I do have a whole layout plan and everything in my office. I looked into this a couple of years ago. This was one of my other quotes that I started looking at this in 2023. You can see that's just to resurface the courts. I was looking at different options. But I do have a layout I was looking at possibly putting in a small dog run out there, maybe some extra benches, a little playground equipment, and doing the multi-use court out there.
I would recommend doing multi-purpose, not just tennis courts.
Yeah, and the light issue out there, we'll have to put in new power pole out there and a couple other things. They'll probably, I don't know what the wiring's like, so they'll ran underground.
Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to point out, the pause place, and it wasn't just pause place. There's been a lot of people that will use the courts just as a place for the dogs to run because it's only got two small entrances, or it did at one point.
And then I'm sorry.
But a dog run out there, a small dog park might be something to look at
I wouldn't vote to spend taxpayer dollars on it, but donations
You
would be,
also
would
have
be cool.
neighbors across the street
That use it a lot.
that might not want that, they might not want lights on. However it is, you know, parking might be an issue, you know, for that small area too, so that's.
I know.
So, I mean, we don't have to make any recommendation.
I know my view is, I guess, tainted, because I deal with city park so much, that if the city was going to do anything, we can't keep local projects. We have to pick something that somebody is using right now on a daily basis, and at any given time, and it doesn't just baseball season, we have soccer out there, we have flag football out there, like that park's being used year round. There's 200 or 300 kids out there right now. There's probably close to 1,000 people out at that park right now. That I feel like we could do stuff like this out there and work our way out of that park down the street before we worry about
I don't know, historically, it hadn't been taken care of for a long time.
No, probably since the early 1990s, but it's what I understand.
Didn't you cut that down, what, a couple of years ago, the first time in 10 years or something?
Yeah, we cleaned it up. We went through and removed the trees that were growing up through the asphalt. That was when I started looking at possibly doing something out there, and like issues with the.
Okay.
Yes, I can dig up some more of that too for you.
So we don't have to motion anything.
Keep it on the radar.
Anybody got anything?
I would like to encourage you guys to put together a list of park projects to go on the budget questionnaire, not just one or the other, but offer a parks option on the questionnaire to see how many people would be interested in different projects.
Is this the same questionnaire that went out, but I had one?
No, the budget one that comes out in August.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that, the little basketball thing up by the school, if we could secure it, I know we'd have to go to the school board, but we could raise the money through the parks board, we get 2 permanent basketball goals.
You don't want to mess with the overlay between one government entity and the other.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it.
There you go, I know you would have to.
It would be better. It would be better, truthfully, if somebody wanted to go buy another portable one like that one out there and tie it to something and just donate it, and it just magically appear out there. Then
Like
to
that
get
one?
exactly, then to get permission from one entity to the other.
There's a saying about that, right? It's about instead of asking permission, for forgiveness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we're, no other questions. Let's, item action number 21.
I'll make a motion. We adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you.
So our next meeting is the first Tuesday in May, right?
Okay, yeah, first Tuesday in May.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot going on, that's okay,
And just to close this out, we do have city council elections and board elections happening this month. April 20th is when early voting starts. So make a plan to vote. There's 8 candidates running for 3 spots on city council. Rigo and Jason are on that list. And there are 3 ISD candidates running for 2 places. And then Brent will be declared elected, I believe. So early voting starts April 20th, ends April 28th. And the first Saturday in May, May 2nd, is Kentucky Derby Day. That is election day for Whitney. So if you are one of those people that votes only on election day, this city and school board race have a Saturday election day. That's it. You want to say something? Oh, come on. Come on. Hey, when is the chamber thing? The 250? July 8th.
8th at noon at Veterans Park.
Veterans Park.
DAR is going to come read the Declaration of Independence. We're going to have plant a liberty tree, and Marshall & Marshall is donating a time capsule.
Woohoo! All right.
Come on out. It's going to be hot.
Hot. Bring your sunbrellas. Okay, guys. So this was it. This was one of the Parks Board meetings. They're getting a little bit better at just flowing and figuring out conversations and how all this decision making works. This is the patio at the Lake Whitney Public Library, so if you want to do an event out here or just come and hang, especially when the sun is beating down on you, this is your opportunity. All right, okay, thanks guys. I'm getting ready to shut the stream down. I've got 14% left. All right, bye guys. Sure.